I redstone it up. Hello everyone, my name is IJ, and this is Project Redstoneworld Devlog, episode 25. This is part 2 of the end of summer devlog series for Redstoneworld in 2024. Last part, we talked about the version upgrade and the changes that occurred out west in the heart of Founding Island, including the FI bunker, and we introduced the new RCorp rail. So some of the changes mentioned in this video are related to the changes in the previous devlog, so I highly recommend checking that out first, but it's not absolutely a requirement, because right now we are focusing on explicitly this area of Redstoneworld. Now, like a year before, I would just say, oh, this is just Eastern Founding Island, but nope, not anymore. See, the RTC has grown to be something much greater than what it has been for many years. For many years, it was just a little quartz box sitting in the ocean. But now, and it was just called Tower 2. But now, we have a real name for it, RTC, the Redstone Tower Complex. We're actually using the names Tower 2 and Tower 3 less and less now. Tower 2 is now RTC-1, Tower 3 is RTC-2. I know that that's different from the last devlog. I bumped both up by one before Tower 2 was RTC-0, which would have just been confusing. I was trying to do that because I don't know, I didn't want it to be exactly like the World Trade Center, because I didn't want to, I tried to hide it that we had any inspiration from it at all. No, we have inspiration from it, and that's okay. They were nice buildings. These are obviously the only thing that's special about this is that, you know, we got they're twins, I guess, and they have an antenna. I think that's really the only relation, and of course the acronym, but that's not even important. The important thing is that the RTC is a new sector, and it is the one and only sector in what's considered the eastern wing of Redstoneworld. Founding Island's in the center, and all the other ones are in the west, or what could be considered south or northwest. But this is the only one in the east. And it fits really what a sector means. So how a sector is defined is it needs to meet certain criteria. That means it needs to have storage. It needs to have an IMS/DMS system. It needs to have a nuclear reactor, some kind of security, a way of emergency management, and it needs to have a considerable amount of land area and complexity in creations. That's what defines a sector. And also officially approved by myself. And this fits all those, or it's going to fit them in the near future. Stuff that's already planned. So the RTC is a new sector, and really this part of the bridge is part of the RTC, really. This is not part of Founding Island. This part of the bridge is really RTC. Of course, this section is Founding Island that goes to Founding Island. But this is RTC. And what that means is that before we accompanied everything under the Founding Island secure compound. That means that all this stuff is a secured area that you can only access in survival by entering a master key or by making your way through a secret entrance. Everywhere else in survival, without breaking any blocks, you should not be able to, and without flying, no elytras, you should not be able to get in. That's the idea of the secured compound. But now it is the FI-RTC secure compound, as you can see here. So what that means is that Founding Island lockdown control in the admin room that I showcased last devlog does not lock down this area. You can still walk into Founding Island by getting into the RTC and walking across the bridge, or using a train that goes underground in the RTC. So that's why there's going to be a new control in the future. Once I create the RTC lockdown, there's also going to be a full compound lockdown, which is going to lock down both Founding Island and the RTC at once. So let's get started over at the bridge. So some of the first changes is that I've actually gone through and made sure that everything, at least over here, the ones that are more my what I'm organizing, has the support structure, so that there's nothing hanging. I even managed to get the drug lab in here. I managed to cover that up. I was warning how I was going to be able to do that, but yeah, the secret drug lab is covered up. And now there's also been a decent amount of progress on the motel. I convinced the creator to get rid of all the moss carpet. We got the copper bulb being in use here, so it's looking a bit nicer. These still have some moss carpet. I think that these could go with a bit more decoration in them. And now there's been some additions to the actual floor over here. There's a lot of stuff here. And then apparently there's supposed to be luxury rooms over here at Block B. And yes, RCorp is not responsible for any injuries, of course. Now, the last one was something that I thought was kind of a dead project, but it is the opposite of that. Whoop. Excuse me. So, over here, this is the armory in the RTC. Now, the RTC armory is kind of a facade. But now there's actually the directions on how to get in. So, you place a torch here, you place a torch here, you break it, you wait for that piston sound to end, and then you place it again, and then after those pistons go off, you break this. So now that has put in the combo lock, so now this door can open. This lever is just a facade. But to get in, you put a final torch here, and this is using a combination of, I redid parts of this, but then that opens up this staircase, and you'll notice that there's nothing really in here. And I may actually want to keep it this way on purpose. I mean, you can get leather boots, but all these chests are empty. You can close the stairs. So what that does, that actually runs this piston here, which destroys that torch. And then you can actually shortly open the stairs back up, which is just on an auto close. But the main thing that it leads to is the Project 159 checkpoint. So you need a level 3 keycard for that, which I can't seem to find. And here, let me put that. I don't need a hopper in my inventory. Now, this is a one-way tunnel, meaning you cannot go back that way. And this is taking you throughout the bridge. So it's going to take you by the club. And now you have two choices. You can either go to Site Z9, a.k.a. Bookstore. We're not going to go to that one. We're not going to talk about that one. We're not going to think about that one. Or you could go to the Project 159 RTC tunnels. And that is where our focus is going to be on today. So you just drop down. There's water, so you don't die. And now there's two paths here. So the first one here puts you into the club, which kind of exposes how it does the bigger on the inside. Because, of course, normally when you're going into the club, you're just walking smoothly in and out. But in reality, it's a teleport many blocks down. And through that drop down, you're able to get to the actual level where it is. Here, pay no attention to Herobrine over there. But this takes you to the Project 159 hub. So, in the meantime, while we're walking down here, let's talk about what Project 159 is. So, Project 159 is, in lore, a, basically an organization, ran by the Redstone government that covers up it covers up and facilitates a bunch of illegal crap. So another thing that's part of the Project 159 is the Forgotten Isle super secret hideout all the way up north. And now this one, this is a underground mall originally with the original shell by 87 Solaire, known as Site Iota 12, and this was used as basically an underground drug smuggling market that was allowed to exist by the government because it gave them, because they got to share the profits. This has actually existed for almost a year. I just treated it as a secret because originally it was like a bookstore thing, but never mind that. But now this is a new thing where there is lore where it was supposed to be a drug market, but then suddenly everyone disappeared, and there's a book that kind of details that. This is actually, I made my suit skin for this poster here. So it's a bunch of weird dictator crap. And over here, this is how you get out. You have to take this all the way up. you're close to bedrock down there, so you have to go really far up. But this takes you to the U3 station in the RTC. By the way, this tunnel system is going to get a eventual tunnel over here that leads to Tower 3. So now that we're in the tower, the other way to get into that is through the Chambo Hotel, which you can access by hitting all these buttons. I won't detail into... I was too slow anyways. I won't detail into what that actually is. Now, in the tower itself, there's been a few miscellaneous changes. Like, I added windows here. Right outside the tower, I added this little watchtower. This was originally on the roof, and it didn't look right, but I still wanted to include it, so it's down here now. You could actually turn off the fireplace with that. So that's something that's nice. And then the last change in this tower, oh yeah, I added supports to this balcony finally. But the last change is up here at the maintenance floor. There's now been some decoration added, so it looks a bit better. And something that I did not really go too in-depth into is this maintenance elevator last time. Now, this is actually, I find this pretty cool. This entire elevator is made out of block displays. You can see that there's some weird things, and this is because of the 1.20.2 that I mentioned in the last episode. You can see that now everything is offset a bit, and that's really annoying. But that's because of 1.20.2 and how they changed stacking. So I'd probably have to redesign the elevator entirely if I wanted everything to line up. But I think it's okay how it is. I made sure that it works still. But this is all block displays, and they're only made solid because there's barrier blocks. But you can see this travels up, and I think it looks honestly really, really cool. And I love this swinging animation for the trapdoors here. So yeah, that is everything inside Tower 2. But we got a lot to talk about in Tower 3. You'll see here, I'll just quickly put a side-by-side of what this tower looked like in the last devlog. So you'll see now we actually have things here. But before we go into those things, let's go all the way underground. And I mean all the way to bedrock level. So over here, this is the government vault, which is still in progress, but it's received a lot of work since the last time. I believe the last devlog, it just had these pathways. This is all where the incoming money is going to be, and they're sorted based on each section. So I don't even know if the last time it had these. So this is where all the emeralds will come in. This is all diamonds, gold ingots, and nether stars. We're not considering iron ingots in this vault because they are too low value to be put into there. Did I accidentally say that they'll be... Oh, yeah. No. Iron ingots are staying in regular storage because they're only $10 a piece, so not valuable enough. And now down here, these are all going to be ways for you to withdraw money. Now, I think we came up with a system. I'll have to see what we wrote down, but I know that there's a cooldown, and you get a specific amount, but you can withdraw each type of money using this kind of system. And you probably need someone with security clearance near you in order to do that. Now, going up here, over here, this is going to be a display. You can see diamond and gold, so this will tell you how much diamond and gold is in the system, at least in the main chest of it. Of course, we're going to have more than one chest. Or actually, never mind. Forget that. Ignore that. We're actually making a scoreboard system for this, so it's going to be stored digitally, meaning that it can go all the way up to 2 billion. And then over here, this will be emeralds and nether stars on this screen. So that is like floor 1.5 of this 3-floor complex. Floor 2 over here is the key card and box system. I don't know what's going on over here. I know that there's a hole that you could fall to your death with that probably needs to be patched up. Multiple, actually. Or that could just be part of the design. Like, you gotta be careful in this vault, or you're going down. But over here, this is for a box system, like a lock box, deposit box system in a bank. So here is where you can, and I don't know what's going on here, but over here, this is where you can store items. They'll be stored physically in here that you can access with a bank teller key card. and you can load and unload from your box. And then over here in this part, this is the global keycard center. So over here, we're gonna have to figure out how I actually fit everything in with this design. But this is where you can put in a level 3 keycard, and you'll be able to get all the other staff keycards in the world, which at the moment you can only get by just, going to duplicating it from a sorting machine. But this gives you a legit way to get all of them. But then the question lies after that, how do you get the level 3 keycard? And that's something that we'll have to figure out. Now, the last floor still needs to get made, but what's going to be on here is departures, arrivals, the control room, and emergency decontamination. So the control room is self-explanatory. You can lock down the vault, but the emergency decontam is where, and this is inspired off of SCP, this is where the entire floors are just going to get completely sterilized of anyone in existence down there. So they will be completely purged and will die. Also, there's all this cool obsidian and crystals all over the wall now, which I think looks really nice. Okay, that is the government vault. Now, moving on, this is actually a pretty recent change. It's only been a few days since I added this, but this is the storage system in full functionality. No IMS. Okay, no IMS yet, but the storage system is in full functionality, and I'm really happy about that, because this was something I was pretty worried about. With how many items we have, like 300 items in this storage system. I mean, like 300 separate items that could be sorted. Actually more if you count like shulker boxes and stuff. But how it works is, of course, you throw items. This is actually the best send items to storage chest that has ever existed in Redstone. Normally you have to find out a chest, you have to seek it out, you have to put your items in. Over here, you just litter. If you want to put your item in, you literally just throw it off, and they'll be put into storage. Like those 2 redstone items, they're gonna go into storage because they go into the central pipe, and then they actually get counted as they go. There, they just went up. So of course this requires a level 3 keycard. I've had to redo the mechanisms for this door several times to fit everything in. There you can see they are going in. And you'll notice something really quick. Boom. Automatic sorting. So this is something really cool I made with commands. I've put a list of every item that's in the storage system. I put it into their each respective category. And I made redstone systems, their command systems, and redstone systems, they're a bit complex in order to automatically sort these items. It does it with good timing. It gives them their initial velocity that they need in order to make it through all the items. And then there's also there's loopbacks at everyone in case there's an error and an item gets in that shouldn't be. They can get a second try going through the storage system. Now, that means that you cannot just throw an item into this waterway and have it go into the storage system. It needs to go through the central pipe first in order to work. And there's all the items should be in place. I know that Cascade and I went through all of them, made sure that they exist. And then we also went through all these hoppers underneath, which are going to be used for IMS item collection. But there's no IMS yet, but the collection already exists, and the way for those items to make their way back to storage. Now, all the way down here, you can see I've actually had to change up the items. So there's no more just white shulker boxes. There's now all shulker boxes. So all types of shulker boxes will now make it into here of all colors. Because for some reason I forgot that shulker boxes are an unstackable item, which is pretty dumb of me. But I figured it out. Now, these all go down based on their sectors. The last thing I added was this materials sector. This was not in there last time. But these items are not going to exist. These are going to be in the vault only. I just took the one off iron, as you saw earlier in the video. And then here are some extra spaces in case we get any more ideas of items we want. Now, down here at the end are the last things of the storage system. Over here, this is basically the same as the cruise ship, mostly. this is where shulker recycling takes place. So if there's a shulker, we can load empty shulker boxes right into that hopper in the colored items area. But if someone gives them a shulker like this one that's completely full, it's instead going to go all the way over here and to the recycling area, where it's going to get all the items filtered out of it, and then it's going to be sent into the system itself so that we get all those items getting processed and the empty box itself. And then over here is where all unknown items are going to be. I know I was inspiring this off the main bunker waterways, because that is the only other storage system that uses waterways for sorting instead of just, loading it up with a billion hoppers, which is obviously what we didn't want. And with how that worked is that if there was an item that was unknown, it was just going to loop around over and over again. And eventually you would just have to wait till it despawned. There was an incinerator that Void and I built, but that was only for items that were overflowing. So now this incinerator is not only for overflow, which you can see, these are the overflow droppers here that make sure that doesn't happen, but they are also for unknown items. They'll be automatically put into here. And maybe we could make a switch that instead makes first makes it go into an unknown items chest, like we have in Founding Island. That could be a potential future item in a control room. And then over here, you just have a chest to send to storage and a chest to send to that incinerator. And that is the storage system. So these things still have to get made. This is going to be the reactor, and this is going to be the IMS and farms and automatic crafting. So there's going to be a lot of stuff with auto crafters in order to make us more farms, basically. Like a real functional cookie farm, which I'm really looking forward to making. Alright, continuing on. The first Tower 3 elevator is now functional. You see that the doors, the glass looks a bit differently now. And we got a new design on the elevator pad itself. Here, let me break the minecart so you can fully see it. This is using all new 1.21 blocks. Now, to get those minecarts back, in case you ever accidentally do that, this is how you do it. You just leave the tower, and then you come back, and then you go in creative mode, and then boom, they'll respawn if it detects missing minecarts. But now, once we walk in, you'll see this is the Tower 3 elevator system, keyword first half. So this is only the first half. So here, this is actually floor -1. Industry complex, and then you have floor 0, the lounge, and the landing point. There's going to be some more things with that one. That one's not really expanded. Floor 1 is another landing point at the main lobby. Floor 2 is the commons. Then we got the mall, the casino, and the auction house. So let's get started going up. Now, we're actually not going to take the elevator up for this first one. We are actually going to go all the way to spawn, because I mentioned something that I would show next devlog, and that is right here. 2 RTC U2 train network branch 2 FI bypass. So this is actually going to bypass. This is considered part of the U2 network, which is this subway system in Founding Island, but it's completely different. This one is branch 2, and this is used to bypass Founding Island, but still make it to the RTC. So you put in your master key, and then over here you have to get into a minecart. And you'll see at the top of your screen, there's a boss bar that says time until departure. You just have to wait for that to count down. And this is a multiplayer train, obviously. It takes 4 people. So once that counts down, it's going to start going. And you can see that this is also not only a multiplayer train, but unlike the other U2, this is a stacking train. So this is something that obviously broke with 1.20. But the good thing is that I was working on that upgrade actively as I was working on this. So it was all good. So the player has no control over these minecarts, and you can't stop it by getting off, which is a really good thing. You can, however, stop it by shooting it, which please don't do that. That annoys me. But this one is actually a really quick way to get to the towers from spawn without having to go through Founding Island. It's actually probably the quickest way, because you just shoot through above the FI bunker and then beeline straight for the tower. The only thing that probably takes a little minute is that as you're going to see, we have to actually go around the tower. And this is Tower 3 that it goes to. I know it just said the RTC, but this is Tower 3. Which I'm wondering... There, better be doing that. Yeah, there you go. Something expired. But now... we stop, and now they're going to crash into each other because I was lazy, but it's not an issue. And then they're going to despawn in a moment. And then this one can continue to spawn. So this is the lounge landing point. Here we can call the elevator. And depending on what side the elevator door is on, you'll see there's a different glass pane. So there, now this is a brick floor. This is a little club lounge, and there's going to be more on this floor because you see we got all this empty space and a polar bear for some reason. But yeah, there's going to be more added to this floor. And then over here, you actually have this door that will open if you walk up to it. It's a 3x3, and this takes you to the lowest part of Tower 2, where you can see, not lowest, but the first floor of it, where you can see the map and everything. This is the really old one, and then you could walk back this way. And now let me demonstrate this part of the elevators to you. So you can do the elevator. There's no music yet. I still got to add it. You can do it in the regular way, which is where you're just going down in the minecart. But this is also an experiment. It does not work good because the thing is that this elevator goes at 0.5 blocks per tick, which is just too much to have a smooth experience, not in a minecart. But the minecart I've actually made optional. So you can actually take this, and you can see it's not smooth at all. And I actually have to give the player levitation too. But you can go up and you can go down without dying and without being in the minecart. And I have to give slow falling on the way down, of course. But that's something new, and I'm going to use that to make a real minecartless elevator in the future, and that'll be for the second half. So I'll show what I'm thinking about for that so far. But first, let's go all the way up to the main lobby. You see that this side's red, this side is blue. Actually, let's go right outside first, because over here we have the ground entrances to Tower 3, of which there are 3. So the first one, just like in Tower 2, these supports aren't touching the bottom. Just like in Tower 2, we have a boat dock, but whereas that one was a bit fancy and nice, this one is unpleasant. Its name is the Forsaken Quay, and you see it's got this rundown look. You're going into lava to destroy the boat, and if you look this way, here, Brian, and this actually adds. I remember at first with the first dock when Tower 2 was first getting made a long time ago. I made a really fancy system to make a random boat spawn, but now that we have /random, it's easy to make a random boat spawn every time. So that's what this does. Now going up, you get over here, and you actually have to enter your master key to even get into this area, and that's not done for security. That's just done because this is dangerous. You still have to enter your master key to get in the tower after this, so it's a double level checkpoint. And then over here is a lore book that details its danger. Now the safest way is just the ground entrance. This looks pretty much just like the Tower 2 one. And you just walk right in like in normal, and then over here's a guard. And then the last way is over here, where you can walk along this walkway, and here is a tunnel to Tower 3. There is another report here, because you'll notice a skulk sensor go off, which starts giving you blindness and sound effects if you stay that place too long. And it says it's dangerous. So this is all lore stuff. But now you got this what looks like a stronger door, because this area is known to have danger to get into the tower. So you do that, you get a message from the guard, and it opens.
Gate 1, main entrance.
I don't remember making that sound. Maybe I did. But also, it will open up if you walk up to it. Like that. So now this is the main lobby floor. So we still got to add more in this area. Here is the bridge to floor 1.5 of Tower 2, or RTC-1 as I should be calling it. Yeah, so there's still we got to add. We got to figure out what we're doing in here, and add it there. But I can tell you what's happening over here is RCorp rail stuff. So Void said that there's going to be an admin room over here. But I don't know how that's going to fit in with the station here, so I don't know. I didn't put that there. But Yeah, this lobby power Cascade and I made, I think it looks pretty nice. But over here, this is a checkpoint for RCorp Rail, escalator, and this is the fanciest station that you'll probably see at RCorp Rail. There's going to be the map over here, and this is where you get onto the tracks. And also, this is the one spot where you can cancel RCorp Rail, but it requires you to go through a maze first. So have fun with that. And now, so that's the main lobby. Let's go up to the commons floor. Now this side, you see it's purple. And now this commons floor lines up perfectly with this commons floor, except they are in very different styles. You may recognize part of this floor because it was in development when I made that my latest cinematic on YouTube. But this is basically the main lobby down there. That's more of an entrance lobby, and this is more the main area that people like residents of the RTC and people sticking around would use. So this is like the main chill zone. This is where everyone's hanging out and doing everything. So over here you got a purified seawater dispenser. Over here you actually get a tea dispenser, which is very nice. Over here you get this is going to be a museum that shows a bunch of photos of the RTC's development. It's going to be kind of similar to one in Tower 2, but this one's solely focused on the RTC, and we have this amazing model of the RTC built here too. Now over here, this is where the elevator is, but you can also go around this way, which is a this is going to be the Tower Commons restaurant. This is a cafe, and it's going to be made functional. Don't worry about that. And over here is the kitchen. We got the Samsung smart fridge, which is obligatory to be in every RTC tower. And over here is like a VIP deck that has a poker table, which is kind of redundant because we do have a casino, but it exists there. That's like a private table area. And then over here is the emergency exit to the RTC bunker, which I showed off in part Devlog 22. But there's been no changes in there yet, so I'm not going to go down there. But that will connect to the FI bunker. This is away from the museum. And then over here, this is actually a balcony where you can go down. You can access the garden. And then you can go up. And there's another little mini garden hidden in there. And over here, you can access this top floor that also can be accessed from up here. And this is actually where the stairs are. There's barely any stairs made yet, but this stairs actually does work. And this takes you up to the RTC Mall, which connects to the RTC Hotel. But this mall, I'm really liking how it's looking so far. I think we still probably need to add stuff in the center here because this is looking a bit empty. And the shops definitely they need functionality. I don't know I don't know what more decor we can add to them. And they've all seemed to be themed to separate like organizations here. Here's where the emergency exit is on this floor. And then there's a second. It's a 2-level mall. And then here is this little extension balcony that you can look at, and it's symmetrical, so you can also use it on the other side and get the view of Funny Island. I think this area looks really, really cool. And then going up here is the RTC Casino. So I'm still a bit unsure about this. We only really have half of this floor taken up, but here we have another poker table. I actually added a full deck of cards in using maps. Over here's the emergency exit. This is a little bar lounge area, but the rest of the floor is still going to have to get figured out. I don't know what this is over here. I didn't make it, but that's obviously not in style with the rest of the floor, so that's going to have to get changed up. And then there were bathrooms somewhere, which I don't know how to access. Oh, through here. Yeah, there's bathrooms over here. And then the last floor made in Tower 3 so far, and this I've been even working on today. This is where the auction house is. So you actually have to cut off, we have to cut off the elevator before the auction house, just because of all the redstone for it. And now here, this is where the stairs are going to be and where the minecart tracks come in order to get all the services still running through. But this is where you can access the auction house, which is now in the tower. It's fully functional, and you actually had some really great views because you get to these big windows on each side. And over here is where and since the auction house is included, that means we can add these cutoffs here. So these parts of the tower can cut off. Really, the only reason why these extensions in the tower ever existed is so that we calculated, oh shoot, to fit in this auction house, we need to extend the tower by this many blocks. But now that we're done with that, the tower now returns to its shape that it had, like I think in Devlog 18 for briefly, and then this part cuts off. But we still got a lot of more work to do with this tower. And then the second half of the tower is going to start right here in accordance with the bridge of the best floor in Tower 2, the VIP toilet. So that is where the next part of the tower will exist. There's going to be a new landing zone, new lobby up here. And then we got to brainstorm on what else we want here. I know that at the correct Y height, I know we definitely want a new cloudy garden. And I know that we want offices. But beyond that, we need some more ideas. I know we want a big pool. But we just need to brainstorm. We need to think about that. Think about what we want in the rest of this tower. Now, the one last thing I'm going to end on is the new type of elevator. I know that we've been using this type of 3x3 elevator or just general minecart elevator that moves at 0.5 blocks per second. We've done that throughout the entire RTC. 0.5 blocks per tick, my bad. But I want something different this time. As you see, we kind of created a hybrid elevator down here because it could do both minecart and a really bad way of just standing. But I want an entirely smooth elevator with no minecarts at all that you stand in. So this is going to be a completely different kind of elevator. This is going to be a lot more complex one, but I want it to be smooth. And now instead of a 3x3 entrance, this elevator may be 4x4 actually in total, which means it's going to have a 2x2 door. I've already added this demo of it, and you can see the doors in action if I hit the right button. It actually uses the same door endings that I use in the RTC, but it actually changes it into a sliding elevator door, which I think is really, really cool. So that does it for today. We've got some amazing progress going on, and I can't wait to see what more we're going to do throughout this year. I'm still making sure that I continue getting work done in the Redstone world. When the next devlog is, I know that last year I did 2 devlogs in the fall. Unsure if I'm going to do it this time besides, the 2 happening right now, but this is part of a single series, which is ending right now. So I don't know if I want to do another one before the 12-year anniversary, which happens in the beginning of January, or that may be the next one. I mean, really the way to... You can't predict that. I have to see if I stay locked in or not. If I have stuff to talk about, I'll try to make sure I make a devlog before the anniversary. So I'll just see you guys whenever the next video comes out. I'm going to be pushing progress on Redstone World, and it's going to be great. I'll see you guys. It's time to fucking redstone it up.